Sandy Says Read. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to do something different. We're doing story time. Get ready for a story. I know that I haven't done this channel for very long. It's fairly new, so doing something different is, par for the course. But I saw some of the other booktubers, YouTubers out here in the internet doing story times, and some of them are hysterical. I love Jessie Smiles. I love her channel. I think she is hysterical. Jessie, I noticed that just very recently you've come back to YouTube. Welcome back. It's good to have you back. And girl power, woman. Girl power. So I'm going to put her link in the comment box below so that y'all can follow her if you wish. She does have some salty language, but she's hysterical. You guys, fun, fun, fun. I recommend her. So we're going to do story time here. Get ready. All right, our first story time is going to be a story from high school, because why not? High school for me was quite a little while ago. In fact, I think it's my 30-year reunion. Yeah, I'm ancient. My 30-year reunion is coming up in June. So why not? Let's do a story from high school. And this is a story that just is too ironic for words. I was such a good girl in high school. I know my parents probably wouldn't agree, but I was a good kid in junior high and high school. You know, I had some salty language. I could swear like a sailor. I've tried really hard to get that out of my language now that I'm older and, trying to be professional. But back then, I could swear like a sailor. But other than that, I was a good kid. I did not drink. I didn't sneak around trying to drink. I did not do drugs. Oh my God, no. I didn't smoke. I didn't do those silly things that teenagers try to sneak around doing. I didn't do that stuff. I did not even have a boyfriend. Let me explain something. When I was in high school, I was a complete nerd. I'm probably still a complete nerd and just try to hide the fact from myself. But when I was in high school, I was a nobody. I was a nerd. I was a band geek. I was a dweeb. So getting a boyfriend wasn't in the cards. And I was kind of okay with that because I just had other things to do. I was getting done with high school and getting out. So that was the goal, survival. Along with surviving, I was a huge Duran Duran fan. So much so that on the day that our story takes place, I was actually in mourning. With every other Duran fan out there of my age group, I was in mourning for the fact that Simon Le Bon, the lead singer of Duran Duran, was getting married. So I was wearing this long black prairie skirt. I had on a white blouse. I remember this very distinctly. A long sleeve white blouse, buttoned up to the neck. Of course, I remember the black earrings that were shaped like a fan and had little dangly things on them. This was the 80s, okay? And a black fedora. Because I mentioned I was a Duran Duran fan, and John Taylor wore fedoras, therefore I wore fedoras. So I had on the black fedora. I mean, I was in mourning, the black shoes, everything. I looked like a Mormon. I looked like a Protestant of some kind. Like I could have stepped right out of the Pilgrim's Progress, okay? So here I am being, dressed in mourning, and I got called to the principal's office. I was like, why? Okay, so I go to the principal's office, and I think it was really the assistant principal. Our principal was Dan Brown. I remember his name. I don't remember this woman's name. We're going to call her Gretchen. So I got to Gretchen's office, and I sit down, and I'm wondering, what's the deal? Why am I here? Because I didn't get called to the principal's office. I was a good kid. And she hands me a piece of paper. Now, in the 80s, we didn't have cell phones. We did not text message one another. There were no private messages, whatevering. There was no pinging and beeping and messaging. That didn't happen in the 80s. We wrote each other notes. And let me tell you what, the art of this origami folding of the notes was an Olympic sport, okay? So we would pass notes to one another and fold them up in these fancy ways, and then when you unfolded them, which was also a trick, when you unfolded them, the paper would be weirdly, wrinkled. So she handed me this piece of paper that was weirdly wrinkled. So I could tell this was a note someone had passed. So I'm looking at it, and it says, dear, let's say Steve. It was written to a guy, okay? Dear Steve. And then it began to say things like, I can't wait to bleep with you this weekend in the backseat of your car. We're going to bleep and bleep and bleep and bleep. And I'm like, and I stopped reading because it was just horrifying and disgusting. I mean, it was horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, why are you showing me this? This is like contributing to the delinquency of a minor to show me this letter. So I'm looking at this woman like, why are you showing? And she proceeds to explain to me how this type of letter is very inappropriate for young ladies to be writing. And she is horrified and appalled that a young lady would write such a thing. And I'm like, I'm a little horrified myself. Why am I looking at this? Well, of course, she thought I had written this letter. No, I did not write this letter. And I'm telling her, I did not write this. And she's like, well, of course you would say that. And it is also inappropriate for young ladies to tell lies. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I didn't write this. I wasn't able to exonerate myself unless I could write something on a piece of paper, let her see my real handwriting, and she wouldn't let me do that. It's like once she had decided, okay, I was guilty, she didn't want to see anything that would prove her wrong. So I had to just sit there and let her accuse me. But it was signed by someone named Sandy. So she assumed it was me. I'm like, I didn't write this. It wasn't me. There are lots of people in this school named Sandy. So she says to me, a teacher saw you drop it. No. And so I tried to appeal to maybe her logic or common sense. And I'm like, look at me. I'm dressed like a Mormon. I don't even have a boyfriend. I didn't write this. She did not believe me. She threatened to call my parents. I managed to get her to not call my parents because, oh my God, I lived in fear of something happening and somebody getting me in trouble and them calling my parents on me. Oh my God. I convinced her not to call my parents. I convinced her that I would never write a letter like that again. Got out of there, got away from it. But I was horrified. I was horrified at the note itself. I was horrified that the vice principal, whatever Gretchen was, would accuse me of writing it and then not believe me when I told her I didn't write. Gretchen, if you're still in the school system, I can't imagine she is. I can't imagine she's still alive. But if Gretchen is still in the school system, you need to take a look at the kids that you're working with and give them the benefit of the doubt. At least let them try to prove their innocence before you just go giving them crap. It was a little bit horrible, a little bit scarring, obviously, now that it's, 30 some odd years later, and I'm still like, I can't believe that this woman accused me and would not let me, defend myself. It was horrible. I didn't like it. I still don't like it to this day. Now, I know there are vice principals and other administrators and staff members in schools today, other than the good teachers who are out there helping students and who would not behave as Gretchen did, who wouldn't just, accuse a student and not let the student speak their mind or speak their piece or try to prove their innocence. I know there are good admins out there. I know there are. So please don't take this story time as more than it was meant to be. I mean, this was just kind of a sad story, I guess, kind of a frustrating story, but it was also supposed to be entertaining and humorous because, it was over 30 years ago. And Gretchen is probably not in the school system any longer. She's probably not tormenting anyone else's kids at this point, I would hope. So it's done, it's over, okay? But I guess what I want to say is that I know there are good administrators out there. They're not all bad and horrible and out to torment children. Okay, so that's it for story time tonight. I hope that this was, fun, entertaining, a change of pace. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and, subscribe to the channel and come on back for, book things next time. Thank you so much.